Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Press the Action Button podcast. This is the E3 edition. It's our big E3 wrap-up, and I am your host, Justin. With me this week is Gameface. Say hello, Gameface.
I'm freaking hungry.
So eat something.
There's no ramen, which is my first choice, and I was like, I haven't had a hot dog for a while, and I go in the freezer bag that I dumped, the 24-pack of hot dogs that we got so they wouldn't get dried out, is now covered in grease somehow. Not the bag, I mean the hot dogs themselves.
Yes.
It's bizarre.
Yeah, it's pretty gross.
I got some leftover chili. That's good.
Well, the chili's okay. It's just the meat takes wrong.
We went to make chili and realized that we ran out of ground beef and got too lazy, so I went and found some of the frozen preformed patties that we had, and I put, I think, 8 of them into a frying pan and browned them all, only to realize that they're the consistency of Scrapple, which doesn't quite work for chili, but at least it tastes the same. It tastes about the same.
The meat tastes different. Everything else tastes the same. It's still got a decent kick to it.
Mm-hmm.
And also with us this week, and sorry about delaying your introduction here, but D-Pad. Say hello to the people, D-Pad.
I'm not sorry for delaying his introduction.
I'm freaking thirsty.
What's your alibi?
Oh, I just need to drink. That's all.
Well, we have beer. We always have beer.
We do.
Podcasts no functioning well without beer.
And this is a new one. This is something that our local distributor just started carrying. And they say it's pretty good. I had some already. It's decent. It's different. But it was cheap. Duquesne.
Duquesne?
Duquesne. Duquesne. It's
Duquesne.
Looks like Duquesne.
Yeah, Duquesne. It's Duquesne.
Yeah, that's a college in Pennsylvania, by the way, Duquesne University.
Yeah, well, it's also Kutztown and Kutztown.
Kutztown. Pennsylvania Dutch.
Graduated from Quesney.
Yeah, Quesney. I would call it Quesney the entire time. I would just drive people nuts with it. Yeah, where you going? Quesney.
Duquesne. You can't even pronounce your mispronunciation right.
Whatever, Quesney.
Quesney. You can't call it that.
Okay, let's just screw the top off, which really doesn't make a lot of noise, but whatever.
D-Pad's made a lot. D-Pad's farted.
The ketchup farted.
Yeah. This is nice getting to do a show a little bit early this time.
Yeah, we're actually recording at 5 p.m. instead of 9. When we usually record this pretty late, and then Paul gets home in the middle of it and interrupts us.
Sort of. He doesn't like walk into the room anymore like he used to.
Yeah, that was annoying.
Oh, hey, there's little things written on the...
Oh, no way. There's little...
Oh, no, there's not.
Oh.
It tells us to go onto their Facebook.
If you ever drink Lion's Head Pilsner, it sucks, but the price is right. But they have these little, word games.
That
on
means
the
it's
bottle
really
caps.
cheap?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is actually the same price almost, but it tastes a little better. But Lion's Head has these little word games on the bottle caps, and you have 3 or 4 of them, and you can't figure them out anymore. But these just have the Facebook link. That is so pretentious.
Like you would go onto Facebook to find out what's new in the beer industry.
Everything, it's like be our friend on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Well,
it's like freaking Downey probably has a Facebook and a Twitter, and you can be their friends on there.
I bet you
There's
Osama
a
bin
local
Laden
laundromat.
had a Facebook. That's how they found him. They friend requested him.
No,
He's in Pakistan. Lol.
No, but somebody did inadvertently tweet, live tweet the raid.
I has gotten dead, LOLOL. Was his final post.
Goodbye, world.
I'm leaving Facebook.
Goodbye, Facebook. Sorry about my family on Facebook. They're just gonna have to miss me.
Yeah. Take care of my Farmville.
He's got a Farmville. Crap, was that my cell phone?
His little Farmville character has a huge turban on it.
No, that's his me on his Wii. They did find a whole bunch of American pop culture stuff, in all the places he's ever lived. Isn't that funny?
And apparently they found a lot of porn. They made a big deal out of that on the news.
I think it could have been his, but I think more likely it was the guards who were staying there with him or whatever. His staff.
I have no idea.
That's just weird that they all shared porn.
I'm just confused as to why this was newsworthy. So
Because
Osama
some
had
people
porn.
found it, because a lot of people found it interesting.
Osama had
A lot of
porn.
people-
He's male. Of course he had porn.
I'm sure a lot of Christian fan base were just like, oh, see what happens when you masturbate.
He was actually evil. He had porn.
Yeah, porn.
Oh yeah, blowing up a building, that's not evil. But by God, if you have porn, that is evil.
I think what they're hinting
They
at
both
is if you
dehumanize
have
people.
porn, you are more liable to blow up a building. Yeah, I think is what they're getting at.
So what you're really trying to say is the reason the promo guys went into that bar with guns is because nobody fed their hamsters.
Oh man, that was a long time ago. This podcast has gone, well, nowhere since then, but that's beside the point. We've had a lot of episodes since then and have not grown in our fan base.
I was going to say earlier, when Nozzle Nuts used to come over here to use Facebook all the time, he spent like a good half an hour finding all the every different liquor that he could find on Facebook and liking, just so he could like it. Like he spent like a half
I think I
an hour.
know. Who
And would have done it. He would have done it all from your computer slate. That's what he's talking about.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Anyway, the plan for this week, basically, we're going to recap the Big Three's press conferences and look over what all they announced and what all was shown and stuff like that. And yeah, we will talk about Nintendo's new console and whether it's cool or not. And apparently,
Whether you wee or whether you woo.
yeah, well, something like that, Jenkins. Something like that. Jenkins.
Something like that, Jenkins. To wee or not to wee?
Ubisoft's press conference started off with a lame joke like that, where they said, "You be or not you be." Isn't that lame?
UB square.
Ubisoft did have some pretty cool looking games, though.
I kept pronouncing it Ubisoft. I thought that was weird because I kept thinking they were saying Boobisoft.
It is Ubisoft, but I'm used to calling it Ubisoft, so
Yeah.
it's probably not gonna change.
Like ubiquitous. Now, if it were a Japanese name, then yeah, it would be Ubi, and I'd be calling it Ubi. But, you know, I see UBI and I think Duqueezin.
Duqueezin beer.
The reason for Duqueezin is pleasing?
Yeah, we'll go with that.
Cool.
Ubisoft actually did show off a few games that was really interesting. They announced Far Cry 3, which I'm really excited about because I liked Far Cry 2, and you can check out my review of that on the website. And then they showed off Rayman Origins, which is a side-scrolling multiplayer Rayman game that looks like a lot of fun. Old school platform.
Are you talking about Rayman?
Yeah,
Where
Rayman.
his
You remember
head
Rayman?
Could turn into a hammer and turn into a vacuum cleaner and stuff like that. Are you talking about that Sega platforming game?
Wasn't that Dynamite Heady?
Yeah.
I think you're thinking of something else.
Yeah, that was
Rayman
Dynamite
got
Heady.
its start in about 1994 on the Atari Jaguar of all places. That's really...
Wow.
The first game was a Jaguar exclusive until the Jaguar went in the toilet and they decided to release it for the PlayStation.
I do actually remember Rayman. I remember the commercial for
I
it.
play
At least.
Rayman Raving Rabbids sometimes. That is hysterical.
Well, this game looks like it's got a good sense of humor as well, and I am really excited. I should show you guys some gameplay footage, because I think both of you would be interested in Rayman Origins. It looks like a lot of fun. It looks like old school platforming with co-op play. It looks like they're doing to Rayman what they did to Super Mario Brothers with the Wii version of it.
Ah.
That's
That is what it looks like.
that's okay. I mean, the Super Mario Brothers for Wii was fun and all, but it was hard. It was really hard.
I'm not talking about the difficulty. I'm talking about the co-op play.
Okay, alright, so you can jump off of each other's heads.
Yeah, and the ability to be a dick to each other as well. You love
I wasn't very good at finishing the levels, but I was good at jumping on people's heads right when they were over top a cliff.
Best game for doing that was Streets of Rage. Remember
that game was so
fucking
fucking
people
badass.
over?
Yeah, you'd let your co-op partner have that nice turkey that he found under a trash can to replenish his health, and then he'd promptly turn around and throw a knife at you. That happened to me once. It was funny.
I think you can turn team attack on or off.
Friendly fire.
Friendly fire.
EA had a decent press conference as well. No real big surprises there, except for Ted Price being on stage from Insomniac to announce a multi-platform game, which will be the very first time they've ever done a multi-platform game in their 15 years of existence. That's kind of a big deal. It's called Overstrike. They didn't show any gameplay, they just showed a trailer which showed their usual clever writing and humor that you've all seen in the Ratchet & Clank games. And it looked funny, and it's probably going to be interesting. They also showed off Battlefield 3, which, if Slacker-chan was here, he would probably be interested in. And it looked a lot better than Modern Warfare 3. It made Modern Warfare 3 its bitch. But you guys actually want to get into it and get with the first press conference, which I'm going to make Microsoft?
Well, I thought we covered the first topic already, but okay.
No, I just did talk a little bit about the other two conferences before I get into the meat of it, which is Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo.
Okay, let's do this.
You're all familiar with the Kinect and how it works, right?
Well, I guess I'm not really sure how it works, but...
I know the premise of it never used.
Yeah, you know the premise of it, right?
Yeah, I know what it does.
It's got like 3 cameras in it, and it's got...
2, I think.
It tracks you.
No, it has 3, which actually confused me.
3. Why does it have 3?
I don't know.
That's dumb.
It's also got a microphone in it, and Microsoft, their press conference highlighted one thing, and that was the Kinect. I mean, if you saw last year's press conference, it was basically the same thing over again, except they're sticking Kinect support in more hardcore titles this year. For instance, well, they started off the press conference by showing off Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3. And if you've seen Modern Warfare 1 and 2, there's nothing surprising there. And it looked okay, but I mean, you've seen it before. You've seen it before twice at this point. So I don't expect huge things from that. Then they showed off Mass Effect 3, which the gameplay they showed off was just purely during the conversations. And if you're familiar with the Mass Effect series, you know it takes a different approach to conversations than most, because you direct the conversation with your responses, and it directs the story with your choices you make in conversations. It's actually really in-depth and adds a lot of replay value to the series, but Kinect is going to use the microphone on the thing so you can do input commands during conversation. So you will say, like, be a dick or something, and the Kinect will make the game choose the Commander Shepard as a jerk-off. Basically.
That does not sound fun.
No, it doesn't. And that is all that they used it for. And tell me
Nobody likes voice command because it's more comfortable to hit a button than than to break the silence and say something yourself. That's weird. Nobody likes to do that.
Nobody wants to talk to themselves.
We have voice command TVs, but we don't because it just isn't appealing.
Didn't they try? They've been trying to make voice-activated games for a long time now.
Yeah,
Hey,
and
Pikachu.
Hey, you Pikachu. They had like this.
Seaman. Remember Seaman? on the
Nope.
Dreamcast.
No, what was that?
It was like this little fish thing that had like an attitude, and it had this weird, creepy face.
So
and you would talk to
So
it.
Aquaman?
And you would talk to it.
No,
Basically.
I don't remember that. Seaman.
Yeah.
You said Seaman.
Yeah. Anyway, why do they need the Kinect for this? If they're gonna put something like this in it, why couldn't they just do it with the Microsoft headset that you use for chatting game? Why couldn't they just do that? Why did they have to wait for the Kinect to do something like this?
Because they're Microsoft and they like to take the ideas that people just kind of, sort of, barely like and just run with them while they, they tend to dump a lot of the things that did work good. Well, actually, that second part isn't true, but they do like to glorify a lot of the things that people didn't really think was all that great to begin with.
That's pretty much the Kinect in a nutshell. You know the one game that people continually play on Kinect? Dance Central. That's it. That's the one game that has kept that thing going. Uh-oh.
I've never even heard of it.
You watched a video with me yesterday of Jared playing the second game, and you said, and I quote, "That looks gay."
I probably did. Yes, I did. Yeah, okay, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, that looked gay.
That was for the sequel to Dance Central,
Wow.
which is also for Kinect, which they also announced at the press conference. So if you liked Dance Central, which probably means you like DDR,
Which probably means you like men.
nice.
Burn.
But if you like Dance Central, you're getting more of it. Basically. Okay.
Okay, I don't see what, good music and good dance moves and liking men have to do with each other. Well, all three are components of being gay.
Okay. EA Sports said they will be using it. They didn't really say how. They just had Peter Moore go out there and go, yeah, we're going to put some Kinect interactivity in our game, which probably means, like, you'll be hunched over, like, the guy or the football, pass it between his legs to the quarterback or something. And
It's
then
like-
you'll play as the quarterback where you'll run and, like, looking back and forth and
You
try
know
to
what
pass it or something.
connect, the word connect is starting to remind me of?
What?
The phrase is low carb or antioxidants. They're buzzwords. And people will find any excuse to throw them into an advertisement to try and grab more customers, no matter how poorly they're implemented.
Zero
Yeah,
trans
that's
fats.
what it felt
Exactly.
like, especially with the Mass Effect 3 thing, and something we're just about to get to. Ghost Recon will use it for gun customization. Basically, this means that you will say a type of weapon customization that you want. Like, let's say you want to customize your weapon for long-range use. It will customize a sniper rifle type weapon, or short range use. It will customize, like a shotgun or a machine gun, something short range. Or you will say randomize, and it will do fun at complete random. Things like that. And again, this could be done with the headset. They're not doing it with the headset, but it could be done with the headset. And this just, to me, it feels like they're just throwing Kinect into things just to throw Kinect into things. Almost like Microsoft has put some kind of ultimatum on this thing that says, you need Kinect in your game.
It's like pomegranate.
It's good
Has
for
to be-
you. It has to be in everything.
Yeah, that's... The dashboard is also going to use Kinect, so you can be like, Xbox Home, and it'll go to the home page. Xbox this, Xbox that, and it will go to different pages.
There was one thing I saw, pretty sure this was for the Kinect, that was awesome and simultaneously horrifying, but still kind of awesome, where they took it was like a stuffed animal or something, and they scanned it using the Kinect, like the front, the back, and then the one side, and then
It popped up in 3D.
it popped up in 3D and it was animated,
Yeah.
like brought it to life.
Yeah, I think you might be able to do that kind of thing with. It's a similar principle to. Are either of you familiar with the game Eye of Judgment?
No.
It's a card game that uses the PlayStation 3
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah.
the Eye toy. And what it does is you set your card down, and the thing scans it, and then a creature pops up. The creature on the card pops up on screen.
Yeah, but see, first of all, that's a cool idea. But second of all, that game relies on already knowing what's on the cards and how to animate them.
Yeah, but it's the same principle as what you just said.
You couldn't draw like a little stick figure penis and have that like come to life on the screen.
Frankendoodle.
Stick figure penis.
That'd be so funny.
Frankendoodle? Are you?
Frankendoodle.
Bing
It's a SpongeBob
is also
episode.
coming to the Kinect, which means you can search for titles and whatnot. I mean, are you familiar
So
with
it
Bing? It's
sucks
basically
on the computer?
Microsoft's.
And now you can suck on the
It's basically you mean not the PlayStation,
the thing.
the
thingy.
Xbox 360, but it's basically Microsoft's search engine, and you'll be able to use it to search for titles with your voice instead of typing them into the 360 or whatever when you're searching for titles you want to download or something like that. So I want to get on there and be like, Xbox, porn, just to see what it does.
See, now that's actually a good idea because nobody wants to sit there and try and type in a word with the Xbox controller, and not a whole lot of people have the keyboard attachment.
I don't know. And they're also getting YouTube. Yippee skip. You can get YouTube on the other two consoles already. So if you own a PlayStation 3 or a 360, or a computer for that matter, this is completely worthless to you. They're also getting streaming live television to it, so you will be able to have a TV controlled by voice command, basically.
So you can watch TV on your game system that's hooked up to your TV.
Yeah, and that's
redundant.
It's a streaming service, so you'll probably have to pay monthly for it.
Jeez.
And it has to buffer though.
But you have TV already. Yeah, but this is through PlayStation, Xbox, whatever. Or it's the same thing. Different color, different paint job.
One's more powerful than the other.
One only occasionally wets itself and dies, said Yahtzee. he compared all three consoles to family pets once. He's like, there's the Wii, mostly kid-oriented, or mostly family-oriented, and, satisfying, although a bit yappy at times. The PlayStation 3 is the big black behemoth that costs a lot to take care of, but is generally worth the investment. And the Xbox 360, which is a good all-around system that only occasionally wets itself and dies.
Okay, they're also getting Minecraft.
Yeah,
with
I
Kinect
heard.
support.
Yeah, I heard
Which-
that.
I thought you were going to say
Okay,
mind
wait
control.
a second. Kinect support?
Yeah, Kinect support. I don't know.
Elaborate.
They didn't elaborate on the thing. They just said Minecraft is coming to our service with Kinect support, and that's all they said.
That's a scary
it.
thought.
I don't know how they're going to put Kinect support into Minecraft.
I could think of 100 different ways, and all of them are scary thoughts. People already live in Minecraft, like it's their new world. Like if you made it so that you could hammer away at the blocks with your fist and then pick them up and place them in other places, it's all over for humanity.
I wonder. I mean, the system already has. I don't remember. I think it's called Fortress Craft, which is basically it's Minecraft. It's a ripoff of Minecraft. I mean, you look at it; it's fucking blatant. And the developers, it's sold extremely well on the system, so now they're going to have two Minecrafts on the system, basically. And one of them will support Kinect. Yippee skip. They said Forza 4 will use it. They didn't say how.
Forza crowd.
They announced the next Fable game. I know everybody's shocked by that.
No!
And it will use
Angry
Kinect.
Joe's going to have a field day.
Oh, I know, right? And it will support Kinect. It's called Fable Journey. And the thing they showed looked like you were playing as a magician on an on-rail shooter, just throwing magic spells at enemies. And I can't confirm that that is what it's going to be like, but if that is what it's like, that's fucking lame.
And then Fable 5 doesn't even work. And then Fable 6 makes manure come out of your TV. Fable 7's not even a disc, it's just a bag of vomit. And Fable 8 will be the first compact disc made entirely of elephant feces. I'm gonna stop now.
Okay, so
I'm gonna get sued.
that was Microsoft's conference. Apart from that, they announced a remake of the first Halo, which won't be done by Bungie, I'm sure, because Bungie has said they're done with Halo. And
dignity.
Halo 4, which again will not be done by Bungie, because Bungie is done with Halo. And Halo 4 showed no gameplay at all. It's just like
they all look the same
it
anyways.
was like a minute-long trailer, and that was it. And they showed off Gears of War 3. And to show off Gears of War 3, they brought Ice-T on stage for some strange reason. And Ice-T was like, yeah, my band Body Count is going to get back together just so we can write a song for this game.
Man, that's like Bob Dole being in that Pepsi commercial with Britney Spears at the Super Bowl. It's like, what?
I know. It's kind of weird, isn't it? But he said his band Body Count, which is his rock band.
Wait, Ice-T has a rock band?
Well, yeah, Body Count.
Oh, that's kind of cool. Oh yeah, I did hear about that actually.
And is going to like reunite or whatever for the sole purpose of writing a song for Gears of War.
That's kind of cool, but doesn't
Kind
tell
of a
us much
step
about
down
it.
from Megadeth writing a song from Gears of War 2, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
But why did they need Ice-T to show off Gears of War? And
Are we
Gears
still
of
talking
War,
about Microsoft here?
Yes.
Man,
We're almost done talking about Microsoft.
Man, I was starting to like them again. Everyone hated them in high school, and like, then in college, I was like, at some point,
Then
I was
Apple
like,
got really big, so people started liking Microsoft again.
yeah.
I hate Apple. I really hate Apple.
There are things I like about Apple. Not many, but there are things. They need to do a game system so I can make
They're
fun of
working-
it.
yeah.
There's rumors spreading
They're-
around that they're
they're
working
trying to
on
join
a
in.
handheld. There's
A joint effort with them and
supposedly they're doing a joint effort with Sega.
Sega.
That is the rumor, no confirmation, just a rumor. But okay, let's move on. Sony, the very first thing they did was address the PlayStation Network.
One thing. If Sega ever makes a system again, they should call it the Vera. Say it.
Sega Vera.
Sega Vera. That
Yeah.
has no relevance whatsoever, but I just thought it would be funny.
Okay, so Sony, the very first thing they did after a 15-minute delay for God only knows why, was they addressed the PlayStation Network outage. Right move. They started off by making a joke about it. They're like, so we heard that media thrives on controversy and loves to write about it. To these people, we say, you're welcome. Which is a good joke. I like that. And that was a smart way of showing it off like, okay, I know there's an elephant in the room, and the first thing I'm going to do is lighten the mood, and then I'm going to apologize, you know? And that's exactly what they did. I thought it was a good move for starting off their press conference, and they showed off Uncharted 3, and holy Jesus, it looks amazing. I cannot wait for Uncharted
The few
3.
franchises that... Actually, no, that's a bad statement. I was going to say one of the few franchises that consistently gets better and better.
Well,
But
Uncharted 2
there's
was
plenty
better
of
than
those.
Uncharted 1.
I've heard.
And
Actually, no, I've played a little bit of Uncharted 2.
when did you play Uncharted 2?
Muffin Button.
I don't remember you playing Uncharted 2. I own Uncharted 2, but I don't remember you playing it.
Alex, we didn't install a muffin butt.
Where did I get this muffin?
Then they started harping on the move, which you expected them to do. They brought Kobe Bryant on stage to talk about the move having support, or NBA 2K11 having support with the move, which who really cares? And you could tell by the look on Kobe Bryant's face that Kobe Bryant didn't care
Want to be
either.
here. Think about the paycheck.
Yeah, you could tell he didn't like it, which I thought was pretty funny. They also said that Resistance 3 is going to come with...
That was pretty cool, actually.
I just chiseled open a beer with a bottle cap and a
with
bottle.
another beer.
With another beer.
But anyway, I'll go into a story that reminded me of here in just a second. Anyway, they announced that 3 is going to have Move support, and that it's going to come in a bundle with the Move, the remote controller, the camera, and the game, all for like $140 or something like that. And then they said that there's going to be a new bundle that comes with Uncharted 3 and a PlayStation 3. So they're very serious about Uncharted 3, and I understand it because Uncharted 2 and 1 were both extremely good games, and I think it's a series that they really should be pushing. Anyway, back to the beer. So there was a while back, some guys decided they were going to commit robbery, but they didn't have weapons.
Common robbery.
They went into a beer store and were going to steal beer.
Using beer as a weapon.
Yes, using beer as a weapon.
And that is awesome.
They hit the clerk over the head with beer.
What kind of beer? What kind of beer?
Please say Rolling Rock.
They didn't say what kind of beer it was.
They should have said what kind of beer it is, because sales of that kind of beer would skyrocket.
I know,
yes.
Isn't that awesome?
Yes. Yeah, that was like a couple months ago, I think.
Yeah, it was a couple months ago.
What, around here?
I don't know where that was. I would have dug into a case and started chucking them. I mean, I would have, put a little spin on it. You could knock someone unconscious, from a good 20 feet away with a beer can if you really tried.
Oh yeah, I'd be afraid of a beer can.
And if you're really lucky, it would break open, and then the victim would be accused of being drunk on the job.
Eventually, Sony got to the star of the show, which was their new handheld, which is the PlayStation Vita. And this thing is really, really nice. I mean, it produces almost console-level graphics.
Is really cool.
Uncharted on it, called Golden Abyss, looks almost as good as the first Uncharted on the PlayStation 3, which for a handheld is way, way impressive.
Now, do they have like an AV out feature?
I do not know. The PlayStation Portable had an AV out feature, which is really cool.
See, well, if the PSP had it, then the PSV will probably have it.
Yeah,
see, I would get a portable console if I had the option of playing it on a big screen, because I'm not really into portable gaming for the most part.
Yeah.
Which is a shame because they have such good titles.
Oh yeah, the 3DS has some sweet looking upcoming titles. The Mario game for it looks fucking awesome. I am really excited for the Mario game.
Unfortunately, I don't think I saw that video.
Oh, remind me later. I'll show it to you. It looks cool. It looks like a mix of like Super Mario Brothers 3 and Super Mario 64, if you can imagine that.
So, basically, sex.
Basically.
That sounds pretty sex.
Anyway, back to Sony. Okay, they announced that it will come in 2 models. One will have Wi-Fi, and one will have Wi-Fi and 3G. And you remember us saying that it will be priced competitively? Well, it is. It's $250 for the version with Wi-Fi, which is good because the 3DS is $250. Price to get the exact same for a system that has better hardware in it. That's a big win for Sony.
Mm-hmm.
The 3G model is $300, but I doubt anybody's going to get the 3G model because they said the 3G model comes with service from AT&T, and they actually got booed when they said this.
AT&T is not terrible. I mean, they have good stuff. They don't have the best coverage, but they don't have the worst coverage either.
That got them booed.
Well, Verizon was always notorious for dropped calls, but
AT&T is notorious for dropped calls.
Oh, really?
And Angry Joe was like, "Yeah, the PlayStation Vita looks really, really cool, but AT&T? I've had AT&T. They suck. That's why they got booed."
I haven't had AT&T since I was like 18.
Anyway, it will have cloud saves, which basically means you can save your game on the internet. So if for some reason you lose all your data on the system itself, you don't lose your saved games, which is awesome. It will also have connectivity with the PlayStation 3. They weren't big into detailing that, but from what it sounds like, you might be able to connect to the PlayStation 3 and play your games streaming from that to the PlayStation 3 to your television. So you'll be able to play it on the big screen via the PS3 or something like that. That's what it sounded like, because they were talking about a game called Ruin, and they said you'll be able to play this on the PlayStation 3 or the Vita. But they didn't say that there was a PlayStation 3 version. They just said there was a Vita version. Now, a game that will have a PlayStation 3 version and a Vita version is Mod Nation Racers, which... Have you seen Mod Nation Racers?
Never.
Do you like Mario Kart?
Yeah.
You would like Mod Nation Racers.
Okay. Is it kind of like Blur?
It's kind of like Mario Kart.
Well, Blur's kind of like Mario Kart.
So Blurrio Kart?
Blur did have that awesome commercial where they were making fun of Mario Kart.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah. Racing isn't about winning, it's about making friends.
I love that commercial. But basically it takes the Mario Kart formula and innovates in it by way of customization. You can customize your kart, you can customize your character, you can design new tracks, you can upload new tracks and download other people's new tracks and rate them and race on them and
Rape them?
race. It does for kart games what Little Big Planet did for platforming.
Okay, alrighty. So it's like a Excite-A-Bike, you can make your own.
Yeah,
Do
you
loops
can do
and-
your own stuff. And I am really, really excited about this thing. I mean, the thing looks really cool. The only thing that I find questionable about it is it's got rear touchpads, which confuses the fuck out of me. How are you gonna function on a rear touchpad? I mean, with a touchpad, you actually have to see it and know what you're looking at to do anything with it. It's going to be on the rear of the system, so you're going to be like moving it with these hands, but your hands are going to be blocked, so you're going to have no idea what you're doing. How is that going to be useful at all, especially considering the screen itself is a touch screen?
I guess you'll have to hot glue a mirror to the underside of your coffee table. It would work. Well, it would work if you just gave it a try.
It didn't work because you're such a douche face. We showed you that, right?
No.
Kikassia.
Oh yeah, I don't remember that line though.
But have you seen the parody of Kikassia?
No.
It's called Punch Dickia. Isn't that awesome?
Bad.
It's bad, but it's worth watching once.
Game boob.
Yeah.
Shout out to Game Boob.
It's they call themselves Pissed Jose and the Gang Boob. And
What are they doing?
They
Like
were-
fighting over food?
they were fighting over who has more YouTube subscriptions or something stupid like that. Yeah, I thought Sony put on a good show. They showed a lot of very good hardcore games, and they cut out a lot of the talking that they did last year. I mean, this conference was about an hour shorter than last year's, and I was glad of that, because Sony showed off some cool things last year, but their conference was so fucking long that it dragged on and on and on. And this year didn't really drag, although it kind of ended abruptly, where I was sitting there watching the live stream going, wait, is it over? That's it? Did it end? Someone tell me if it ended! I wasn't sure! But I'm really excited about this, and they sold me on the PlayStation Vita. Like, they showed off the games, and then they announced the title, and I said, oh, then they announced the cost, and I said, okay, sold. They didn't give an exact date, but it will be available by the end of this year. So it will be available for the holidays.
I might consider that for my own personal gaming goal, which I'll explain later after we talk about the Nintendo press conference.
You guys want to get to that?
Yeah, sure.
Go for it.
Yeah, Nintendo. Obviously, they started off their press conference by showing off a bunch of DS games. They announced that the 3DS store is now online, the eShop, and with it you can download the original Excite Bike for free, enhanced with 3D visuals, which is cool. They also announced that you will be able to download Zelda 4 Swords for free with 3D visuals.
Loved 4 Swords.
I never got to play it, but I really wanted to. And it looked awesome. And that is cool. I mean, free Zelda game. Who doesn't like a free Zelda game? They also started off the show by announcing several things from the Zelda universe, that being one of them. Link's Awakening is also coming to the Virtual Console, so if you like Link's Awakening, awesome. If you don't like Link's Awakening, you're a Zelda-hating Nazi.
Nazis.
Yeah, well, we had Lombax hating Nazis last week, so...
Oh yeah, we did.
That was the name of last week's episode, Lombax hating Nazi.
What's with this lack of centaurs? Are you an anti-centite?
That's a good one, actually.
That was the Nostalgia Critic. I didn't make that up.
Anyway, yeah, they're also doing a concert tour where are you familiar with Video Games Live? Either are you familiar with Video Games Live?
Nope.
You mean like Video Games as a life, or
no, Video Games Live?
No.
It's a symphony concert tour that does.
Ah.
They play video game music, and they played a bunch of stuff. Like stuff from God of War. They played stuff from Final Fantasy. They played stuff from Shadow of the Colossus. It's got a release date in the U.S., by the way. It's coming out in September. The HD collection, Shadow of the Colossus and Ico.
Okay, cool.
And I'm really excited about that, but they're doing that basic thing for Zelda. There's going to be a big Zelda tour, and it's going to be symphonic Zelda music. Skyward Sword will have symphonic music, which I've been waiting for Zelda to do that for a long time. It's about time, Nintendo, that you moved away from MIDI music in Zelda.
Yeah, but it's just so quaint.
Well, what this is going to do, though, is going to add depth and more complexity to the music and just make it better. That's all it's going to do.
Hey, what if they released one of the early Zeldas, like as like a 2.5D kind of a thing?
I'm not so much of a fan of 2.5D. I think if something's flat, it better have large pixels.
I know what you mean.
In my personal belief, I don't know. When they try to,
well, it's just that if you mean large pixels as in lower resolution.
Yeah, I mean,
so like
it better look old school. Yeah.
Have you ever checked? Have you ever seen 3D Game Heroes?
No. Never.
That looks amazing. That's a 3.5D. It's like Minecraft. It's intentionally pixelated, but it's 3D.
It's intentionally pixelated, but it's 3D, and
the reason
basically
why
it's a love letter
is
to
3D
Zelda.
is because it was programmed in Java. Or the reason why it's pixelated the way it is.
Well, this was intentionally done that way, and it looks really, really cool. Basically, the game is a one big love letter to The Legend of Zelda, exclusive to the PlayStation 3. Go figure. Right. But there are rumors that Miyamoto has said that he wants to remake Link to the Past.
Yes, that's what I was thinking.
Awesome! If they did like a 3D version of Link to the Past or whatever, I would buy that up day one.
I noticed that the games that made the best transition to 3D are the ones that were top-down. Am I right?
I don't know. I've still been waiting for him to do a 3D version of Pokemon, and nobody's thought of that yet.
We thought of that. I was wondering that back when Pokemon was first.
There were 3D versions of Pokemon.
No, there weren't.
But
Not of the real game.
Not of Pokemon.
They went back and they did the Ruby and Sapphire version, and that was okay.
No, I was talking about there was a Pokemon Gale Darkness or something like that on the GameCube, which you controlled like a handful of Pokemon, and it was
where you play
far more
as
of
the
like
Pokemon.
an action adventure RPG than.
No.
But
oh yeah, I remember that.
And it was on the GameCube.
Because when Pokemon was first popular, it was at the same time that
N64
was very well established, and they were like, why haven't they done an N64 version of this game yet?
The closest thing you got was Pokemon Arena. Remember Pokemon Arena?
Yeah, but that's just the battles.
And that
you don't hunt for Pokemon, you don't capture them, you don't
There
train.
was Pokemon Snap. Why the hell we own that game? I don't know.
Hey, you Pikachu.
Never touched it. No.
Again with the voice activation.
Yeah, okay.
It never went anywhere.
They showed off a new Mario game, which brings back the Tanuki suit.
Cool.
Which is awesome.
Tanuki.
I always wondered why giving Mario a tail would let him turn into stone.
And it brings back the raccoon tail, so you will be able to use it to fly. And instead of pressing the button repeatedly, you just hold it.
Could fly.
Well, in
Why
Super
can
Mario
Bunny-
Land 2, he has bunny ears that make him.
Yeah, why do those make him fly?
Typical Japanese.
And why is he a plumber?
But this game looks like it switches between 2D and 3D. Like I said earlier, it looks like a mix of Super Mario 3 and Super Mario 64. And I love both of those games, so I am really excited about this one.
So Super Mario 63?
Basically, something like that. Yeah, you remember Clay Fighter 63?
63 and a half.
Yeah, it was like 63 and a third or something like that.
Yeah.
That was a fun game.
Yeah, I never tried it.
It was basically a really silly fighter game.
Yeah, that was like N64, wasn't it?
Yeah. Okay, you guys want to get to the beef of the thing, though?
Yes.
The Wii U. Nintendo had a new console to announce, and they announced it as the Wii U. Okay. Well, let's get the joking out of our system first. Wii U, killer tofu. Okay, joking done.
I'm not done yet.
Okay,
I'm done.
Obviously lame name, but the Vita is kind of a lame name as well.
In
So-
Western culture, it's a weird name.
Yeah.
I'm sure in other languages, it doesn't sound too weird.
But okay. Obviously, new console. It's 1080p HD output with HDMI. So Nintendo is finally going high definition. They did not give technical specs on the system that say it might be better than the 360 and the PlayStation 3. I hope so. Otherwise, that puts them at 5 years ago. But they're going HD, so that's big news. And they didn't show off the console at the conference itself, which drove me nuts. I wanted them to talk about the console, and all they talked about was the controller. And the controller, it's innovative, I'll give it that much, but I'm skeptical. Okay, 6.2-inch touchscreen, 2 thumbsticks, 2 shoulder buttons, and 2 triggers. That's what's on the thing. So it's like someone glued thumbsticks and buttons to an iPad, basically. Games can be played on, obviously games are be played on the TV, but if someone decides they want to come in and watch TV, and you can just take the game from the TV and put it on the screen and play it on the screen itself.
So you're still playing it on the console, except you're using the controller as a screen.
Yes, it's not portable. You have to be within range of the console for this to work.
Which is kind of lame, but it's expectable at the same time, and I actually do think that's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's kind of cool and kind of lame that it's not portable, but it works with all of the Wii accessories. So it works with the Wii mode. It is not portable. It is a wireless unit. It is backwards compatible with all Wii games. Unfortunately, Wii games will not upscale to 1080p on it. That's kind of lame. They'll still display at 480p. I don't know why. It is not backwards compatible with GameCube games, however. There was no price given for this.
Did they have a release date?
They did not have a release date.
Boom!
All they had was 2012. That's it. They said 2012.
Okay, well, that's a start.
I suppose it's better than nothing. No price, no release date, but they showed off some of the things you could do with this, and like they showed it working with a golf game, for example, and they set it down on the ground, and showed like the golf ball sitting there on the screen, and then the golf course ahead of you on the TV screen, and you got down like this, like you do with the golf. Like you're swinging a real golf club with the Wiimote, and you went like that and swung, and the golf ball went flying off of that screen and onto the TV screen.
That sounds ridiculously awkward to do with a pad-shaped controller.
Well, the pad-shaped controller itself is on the ground. You're not touching the thing.
Well, okay, that's a start.
It's
but then
measuring your movement,
But then you have to put the control on the floor, and I don't want to change positions while I'm video gaming. It's not sex.
That's just one example of what they can do with it. Aliens Colonial Marines will be coming to the system, which means they're getting a bunch of hardcore third-party titles, which is cool. The only problem is every single hardcore third-party title they announced is also coming to the 360 and the PlayStation 3. The Aliens Colonial Marines. Have either of you seen the movie Aliens, right?
Yeah.
You remember the motion tracker on Aliens that would like beep and show where the aliens were?
Yeah.
It'll function as that.
Oh, okay.
Controller, which is kind of cool, but I could also predict it being annoying if it beeps constantly. The thing does have speakers on it.
Well, certain games on the Wii do that too, which I didn't even know when we first got one. Remember that D-pad? Some random games just making sound through the controller, and it would always freak me out.
Yeah, didn't No More Heroes do that?
No More Heroes.
Like lightsaber sounds or whatever when you swung it.
Yeah, but there's certain points in the game where you would get a call on your cell phone, and you actually take the controller up to your ear and start talking on the cell phone. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, it's kind of cool.
Obviously, this was the big announcement of the show, and it looks kind of cool. They showed off a bunch of different things you can do with it, but I'm still kind of skeptical. One of the cooler things they showed was Tom Clancy's Advanced Warfighter, Tom Clancy's Future Soldier, which it's a Ghost Recon game, and that they showed actually like using the pad to plan out strategies for you and your team for multiplayer games, and it will show up on their strategies, and they can alter it too to see if they might be able to do something different, and you can communicate with it.
There.
And that looked kind of cool. I'm not gonna lie, that looked pretty cool. But I'm still skeptical about this thing for largely two reasons.
It just occurred to me they now have a home console version of the DS, basically.
Basically, yes, except more powerful.
Well, of course,
a lot more powerful.
It's hence home version. Anyway, continue.
The first is the size of the thing. This thing, 6.2-inch touchscreen. That's just the touchscreen. That is huge. This will be by far the largest controller ever designed, and I'm worried that will make it uncomfortable to hold. It might be heavy, it might be awkward to hold it. That worries me. What about you guys?
Isn't there a controller that's bigger than the NES?
It's a peripheral, though. You're talking about the trackball for the 5200?
Yeah.
Which they had one for sale at Too Many Games.
Yeah, they did.
The trackball. I didn't see it at 5200, though. I would have bought one of those.
That'd be cool.
The trackball, though, was designed to give you an arcade experience, because arcades, arcade machines are huge, and they have some of them have the trackballs.
There's also the NES Advance.
And they also have arcade sticks that you can get for your console, which are obviously also big to match the size of the arcade. Arcade sticks in the,
Mm-hmm.
And but this is the one control. You use this for everything. You don't specifically use it for fighting games. It's for everything, and it just seems like that might be a little big. What do you think? What do you think?
Yeah, for the I would have had something smaller with maybe a larger peripheral.
What about you?
Oh, I honestly wasn't really paying attention.
The controller, it's ginormous. What do you think?
Well, I mean, as long as you can hold it, then it'll work.
It's something that I need to hold in my hands first.
Famous last words.
Something I need to hold in my hands and try first.
That's
the
what she
other
said.
thing that worries me about this is the price. The controller itself looks like it's going to be very, very expensive.
That's something I noticed as the overall trend in increasing the cost of controllers. Remember when, when like N64 was popular, you could get a brand new like first party, Nintendo N64
like
controller for like $30, and now we went out and we went to buy a PlayStation 3 controller over the weekend, and the
55.
55, like today's episode, by the way.
Yeah, this is episode 55.
55.
55.
This is episode 55. New
Well, no
PlayStation.
wonder it keeps coming back. You're giving them $350.
New, PlayStation 3 controller costs $55, and we managed to find a cheap, third-party knockoff for $30.
We haven't
That's still
tried it
expensive.
yet. We haven't tried the third-party knockoff yet because we don't have batteries. I was going to get batteries today when I was out, and then I completely forgot.
Now that was
Put
actually
some
when I
Portal
lost
2 co-op
interest in
mofo.
playing the Wii, when I found out how expensive it is to do anything on the Wii. Like, I tried to go get a second controller so I could play people in Guilty Gear, right?
Yeah.
And
Guilty Gear.
I couldn't do that because it was like
$60.
yeah, it's like $60 for a new controller, an extra
it was-
$20 if you want the Motion Plus, that
I
actually
thought
makes
the-
the Wiimote do what it's supposed to do.
Which I think is hilarious that peripheral. And
Exists.
they've got the new Wiimote Plus, which combines the two into one, and I think it's the same price.
See, when Nintendo always does that, they're just like, okay, hey, what video games isn't about having powerful computation skills? It's about being user-friendly. And then, like, halfway into the competition, they're always just like, oh shit, maybe it is about having powerful computation skills. So they
Yeah, that's
they
what this
make
kinda
the
feels
expanded
like.
pack for the
That's what this kind of feels like,
N64.
and
Yes!
it feels almost similar to something like the Dreamcast, and where it was this brand new console that comes out, and then 2 years later, other new consoles come out and just phase it out. I fear that happening with the Wii U, but it has stronger third-party support.
Well,
as
it
they
didn't happen
showed.
to the Wii 1.
No, the Wii 1 was just sits on most hardcore gamer shelves and isn't played.
Yeah, that's true. But they're not the whole industry,
Interesting note about this. Nintendo's stock has dropped like 10% since the announcement, which is highly unusual, especially with Nintendo. They announce a new console, Nintendo stock rises. Announce a new console, stock rises. That's usually how it goes. And maybe, I don't know why, nobody knows why, but theories seem to suggest that me as whatever very skeptical about the Wii U and what it will do and how well it will do. So Nintendo's console stock drops. I'll tell you this, I'm very, very glad they're finally going HD, because I'll admit that I was slightly annoyed when the Wii was like, yeah, we're not gonna do HD.
If they hadn't, they could have would have dropped off the face of the planet.
I don't think they have much of a choice at this point. And the one other thing they really need to get right, and they admitted that they're not handling it, is online play. The PlayStation 3 and the Xbox 360 have both gotten online play right. Online play is very, very big in this industry, and if you're going to succeed big time and keep gamers coming back and back and back to your console, you need strong online play. And they said they're not focusing on online play, and friend codes are gone.
Friend codes are gone.
Yeah, friend codes are gone, which is a good thing, because friend codes suck. It's like a
We used
21-digit prime number that you have to give your buddy that he has to type in.
Oh, wait,
It's a prime number.
20. I'm just making an example here.
Oh, okay.
At how ridiculous friend codes are.
It's like ICQ. You guys remember ICQ?
Yeah.
The messenger that no one ever used?
Yeah, we used that in the mid-90s.
People still use it. I still see ICQ codes. It's the only instant messenger that doesn't just give you a screen name. It's like an 11-digit number.
Yeah, that's what the Wii did. It wasn't a good idea for ICQ. It wasn't a good idea for the Wii. I don't think it was a good idea for...
Hey, what if AOL created a home video game console?
Where did that come from?
I don't know. I was just thinking, because they were like the only, like... They're like one of the only instant messengers that's been consistently popular for the last 15 years.
Yeah, but they're an instant messenger. Like, why would they?
Because they have the
why
money.
would they do that? They don't. Who pays for AOL?
It'd be like
Remember when you could get AOL
VS.
for free forever because they just sent you a new disc every day with 60 more hours?
Are you kidding me? I use those things as frisbees, man.
that was the
They
joke.
played a
Not
prank
joking.
on that on the Futurama episode where that giant trash ball is heading to Earth. The one that in the 20th century they launched all their trash out into space because they didn't know what to do with it, and now it's on its orbit back. And they're like, well, maybe we could plant a bomb right here next to this deposit of coffee grounds and this island of AOL instant messaging CDs.
All around, I think this year's E3 was actually pretty good. Microsoft's conference was
Addendum.
boring.
Addendum.
Okay, also?
About Nintendo. I said I was going to say it, and now I'm going to say what I said I was going to say.
Well, say what you say you was going to say.
No.
Yes.
Okay. I was going to say, a while ago, I had this kind of personal goal. It was almost like a pact with myself and with, some of my friends. That D-Pad, we've lived together for most of our lives. You remember how we were never kind of on the forefront of anything? We always got something at least a year to a couple years
we'd
after
beg our
it was
parents
hot.
and tell our parents we can only be cool if we have this, and they'd be like,
Like, well, get rid of your, N64 then.
no.
No, it's got good games on it, damn
You
it.
have too many. You have too many systems.
What do you
Why
need
too
another
many
one?
systems?
That was
You already
the
have,
biggest
like,
one. What do you need another one
Dude.
for? Doesn't
Yeah.
work that way.
In Harrisburg East Mall, there's this
Oh,
fucking
They're not
sweet
footballs. They're
store.
not catcher's mitts.
Okay, I'm gonna put my addendum on hold. Tell them about Capital City Gaming.
There's this fucking sweet store called Capital City Gaming. It's the nerdiest store I've ever been in. One of the very first things you will notice when you walk into the store is a Stargate in the middle of the thing, just hanging from the ceiling.
What?
A Stargate, yes.
Like from Stargate.
Stargate, yes. And they have consoles from every generation, video games from every generation of consoles.
Atari 2600.
They get Atari 2600, Sega Genesis, Super Nintendo, regular Nintendo, Atari 5200,
But
Atari
do they have
7800.
Sega Master System?
Yeah, they did.
Yes!
And everything. And then they had comic books, they had manga, and I don't care if I'm pronouncing that wrong. I really, really don't care. Tim's not here, so whatever. That they have anime movies, they have regular movies, they have tabletop gaming. It's fucking awesome. You would be like, this place is badass.
And I decided we are going to patronize the crap out of that store just to make sure they stay in business.
They've been there for about 3 months now, and their selection is not the greatest yet, but I mean they still have a lot of cool stuff. They had Super Mario RPG, they had Final Fantasy II for the SNES, all kinds of cool stuff.
Basically like a little shop in my college town, Kutztown, called Young Ones.
Kutztown.
We still have not gotten to go to because every time we go up to Kutztown for a weekend, it's closed. Anyway, my little personal addendum thingy, my little pact with myself, kind of. I decided, okay, we never had the cutting edge stuff when it first came out. It would be at the very least a year, usually 2 or 3 or even 4 years after something came out that we'd finally get around to getting one. Even, I think the shortest gap was with the Wii that we got about a year and a half after it came out. Or was it the PlayStation? I don't know. But I decided that we're on the 7th generation of video game consoles. The Wii U is going to be the first of the 8th generation. And I decided that no matter what it costs, no matter how uncertain it is, I'm
You're
going to
going
go
with Nintendo?
No, hear me out. I decided that whatever the first next generation console is, even if it's too expensive, even if it turns out to just be a pipe dream, that I'm going to go out and I'm going to get it opening day, just so I can be on the front line for once in my life.
Brag to everyone.
And hearing about the Wii, the Nintendo Wii, I think I'm going to change. I think I'm changing my mind on that. I don't think it's a terrible idea. I just don't think it's going to be. I think whatever's after that is going to be the big one.
It's going to be as big.
Oh, that's what we're always saying. It's like, oh, okay, well, maybe this hasn't improved much over the GameCube, but the next one, like, I remember when GameCube came out, and they were like, oh, well, N64 was like, it's still 64-bit. A GameCube was still 64-bit. And then the Wii came out, and they're like, oh, we have motion sensor. But then everything had motion sensor.
I think the Wii.
Nobody even liked the motion sensor.
This is going to sound really 90s.
Was not the very first console to be a completely motion sensor console.
What was?
I do not
It's still
remember
not
the name
completely
of it.
motion
I mean, I'm sure there were
console.
like.
Well, I do not remember the name of it, but there was one that came out like a year before the Wii that had it. It was like a 32-bit console.
Actually, I think the Nintendo Wii was a 32-bit console. It's really 90s of me to refer to game systems by their bit ratings, but a common misconception is that the bit rating goes up every generation. It doesn't. You know, there was 64
well,
in the
like
90s.
It's stuck somewhere between the PlayStation 1 and the Dreamcast.
That's kind of cool. Not really, but it's kind of cool.
Anyway, that was. I'm gonna go through and rate the conferences quick. Microsoft, very boring, almost nothing that interests me. Not that I give them C minus. Sony kicked ass. I really liked their conference, but they didn't have the best conference of the show. I would give them a B plus. Nintendo, I'm skeptical about your new system, but you did show it off pretty well. You did shut off the controller pretty well. You should have shown off the console more. So I'm going to give you guys an A minus and the best of E3 this year.
Nintendo best of A3, really?
Not
E3?
Yeah. I mean, this isn't amazing. This isn't nearly as amazing as I think it was 2006 or 7, where all three conferences from all three companies were just amazing. Just one big game after another, after another, after another. But it was a decent E3, and if you guys can go check out the Twitter to read all about me live blogging through all 5 conferences and my reactions to different things and stuff like that if you want to. But we're coming up on an hour 10 here shortly.
Dang,
it's
that
almost
went
an hour
fast.
10. So, we're gonna get out of here, and I'll get this edited at some point and get it up for you guys. By the way, the music is more of the first Ratchet and Clank. So, I mean, you probably expect more next week. I think I have like an hour 45 left of music from the first Ratchet. Anyway, this has been another edition of Press the Action Button podcast here on digital-delirium.com. As always, I'm your host. Joystick with me this week was D-pad for old school stuff. Say goodbye, D-pad. This was old school because it's just the three of us.
See you guys later. You guys have a good week. For those of you who are listening from E3, happy podcast.
Now, when was the last time that it was just the three of us? Think about it.
Just the three of us? Oh, I don't know.
It's been a while, hasn't it?
Yeah, I'm usually at Tim's on Sundays, and we end up bringing Slacker Chan.
Yeah. Also with us this week was Game Face. Say goodbye, Game Face.
Bye.
We will talk to you guys next week here on digital-delirium.com. Goodbye.